This is Whole Life, a podcast from the Whole Life Church in Orlando, Florida.
Join me, Ken Wetmore, lead pastor, and Melanie Bachman, our worship pastor, along with our communication team, Randy and Lucas. Take a look back, a look deeper, and a peek into the week ahead.
Here we explore meaningful conversations about spirituality, community, and living with purpose.
We don't have all the answers, but we are walking the journey together.
Wherever you're listening from, you're wanted here.
This is Whole Life.
Hey everyone, it's episode 518 of This is Whole Life, and this week our master shoveler is back. He was gone last week. He was afloat somewhere, adrift somewhere, mind, body, and soul.
I hadn't
somewhere.
heard that title before.
Well, you're
Master Shoveler?
Master shoveler?
Well, when we go deep, someone's got to dig. And so the master shoveler has to be
Thank
Ken.
you for clarifying that. I thought that wasn't what came to
That wasn't what came to mind.
came to my mind.
No.
Right.
We got to dig deep every week into what we're talking about. And typically,
I'd like to say I missed you guys last week, but I didn't.
no, I would hope not.
No.
We didn't figure you did.
And we thought,
Okay.
well, maybe Ken was.
I missed the audience, but you three.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, what we
We
thought
feel
was.
better now.
Do you? I thought that maybe you were channeling your inner Melanie.
Yeah.
And you woke up somewhere out in the Caribbean going, Melanie, Ken, why are you listening? Stop listening, Ken. Melanie, waking up in the middle of the night, hot sweats.
Please tell me, the cold sweat and the terror.
And hearing the podcast in my earbuds.
Yeah. Was that? No.
No. I very specifically did not get the internet package.
So you didn't even listen to a book. You actually read a book.
So here's the thing, Randy. You can actually download audiobooks to your phone.
It's this new thing.
Really?
I did both.
did.
I had Rochelle and I.
You planned
we
ahead.
actually listened to two books together, and then there was another book that I was reading, actually reading. Yeah, myself. So I think I got through 3 books on a 7-day cruise. Not
So
too bad.
don't think that Ken Wetmore doesn't know technology at least enough to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, that's really the key, right there.
Download that book early.
Download it, and
That's a travel
You
tip from
pumped
your
up your
friends.
Goodreads stats while you were gone.
Yeah.
There it is.
Nicely done.
Yeah, thank you.
Travel tip from your friends at Whole Life Church.
There it is.
There you go. Download before you go. Especially if you have kids with an iPad that doesn't have a plan outside of the Wi-Fi.
The other thing is that we are boat stopped in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and in St. Thomas, which are both territories of the United States. So we did have cell service while we were in port in those places. So
Gotcha.
I briefly jumped on the internet to make sure that the world was still,
As you thought.
Turning.
well, all of those things, and
Like your boat wasn't going to fall off the edge of the earth.
that too. That was
Just in
important.
case.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know.
I'm just glad you didn't come back with one of the very many
Viruses out there.
viruses that seem to be circulating.
No, I didn't.
All right, guys.
I'm fine.
Thanks for
All right.
listening.
We'll have
Have
to
a
see you
great
next
week. We are out of here. Well, guys, every week, and I've been watching this over the last couple of weeks, you guys have been sharing the absolute business out of this show. We've seen all kinds of spikes in numbers across this and across Speaking of Grace, our sister podcast. And if you swipe up in today's snow notes, like a snow
Somebody
cone.
else needs a vacation.
It's a snow cone for your brain. It's delicious. Try it sometime. Show notes by swiping up. And you will find a link to Speaking of Grace where you can actually hear the message. This new series we're in, Don't Forget. And the title is The People Who Raised You. So you can check that out in that way. And you might want to pause this one because it might make more sense. Well, it will make more sense if you listen first. But you do how you want to do.
Do how you want to do.
Yeah.
What's
Ken,
wrong, Randy?
I think Ken just swallowed the canary and I didn't see it. Or...
I do have a good story to share at some point.
Oh, well, let's
It has
see.
to do with the sermon, so.
All right, let's do it. Let's start with it because that could be a fun intro.
But maybe before we do that, I had another fun story that should I share the story that I told you in our office about my daughter's friend?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a
good.
premium.
Yeah.
That's premium
try
subscription
it.
stuff right
Let's do
there.
it.
So I just got a text message from my daughter with a screenshot of her text messages.
I love those.
Yeah, isn't that great? And
So the moral of the story is be careful what you text Kyla.
Yeah, be careful because it's all fair. Nobody told me I couldn't share this, so I won't say the name. But one of her friends texted her and said, girl with like 4 L's.
Is that UR or IR?
IR.
Okay.
So,
I like
yeah,
the girl. Okay.
All right. Tell me why the guy I randomly sat next to on the plane finds out I'm studying journalism and brings up your father as someone I should talk to.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yes, this is the best. My head just like, I barely walked into your office today, Randy. My head barely fit through the door. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I want to talk to
Internationally speaking.
Studying journalism, you should talk to Ken Wetmore. That's who you should talk to. I mean, those 3 years that he was the 6 o'clock anchor really seasoned. Apparently your dad officiated this guy's wedding. What are the odds?
What are the odds?
I'm like, the odds are slim. And I know the person actually described the person she was seeing. I know exactly who it was. I actually texted him and sent him some money for like spreading the good word.
Well, for the record, I always recommend you when I talk to
me too.
journalists.
Yeah,
when
well,
you were gone?
until one of my daughter's friends texts me saying that that Melanie Bachman, that you don't get any money for that.
Shoot.
So
Kyla, can we talk together and maybe tomorrow if you're around?
this is a true story. You don't believe me? I can show you the text message
no,
right here.
No. I just got to send Kyla some text from an unknown number.
No. This is so
Mine's going to be
good.
with a U though, not an I.
I actually texted my friend, the person that I officiated. He's my friend. His name is Art, and he's like, "Yeah."
Vandalay?
He knew. No.
Okay.
Yeah. And Art might actually be listening to this. So Art, if you're out there, dude, you are in number one fan lane for me right now.
Hey, Art, if you are listening, 407-965-1607. We would love to get a voicemail from you about the topic at hand. I would love to hear.
I would love it too, because clearly, I mean, if you're on planes spreading the good news, I mean,
well, how could it be?
There you go.
We have to make sure that Ken is in the door before we play that message.
Yeah, you might want to, and then have a cot set up in here. So,
give it time to
somewhere
deflate.
to sleep. Well, yeah. That was right up there with the.
That's awesome.
Did I tell you? Have I told you guys the time I was on an airplane right after being on Guam? Yeah. I was the pastor of the Upper Columbia Academy Church, and I had been telling them, and this is like literally 2 or 3 years after I had left broadcast news. And the Upper Columbia Academy at spring break almost always does a international mission trip, and this year they were going to Indonesia. And so we're on a flight from Seattle to LA, and then we're going to go from LA on. And I'm sitting next to the school chaplain, and I'm telling him that I'm brand new, so we're kind of telling each other our stories and where we're from, blah blah blah. And I said, yeah, I was kind of famous on Guam because I was a 6 o'clock news anchor at the television station there, and worked in radio and television, blah blah blah. And he's looking, and he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I promise you, this is a true story. The flight attendant walks up after we get up and takes one look at me and goes, "Oh my word, you're Ken Wetmore."
Oh no.
And I want to tell you, that was like, and he goes, "Oh my goodness, can I get a picture with you? Can I?" My mom is, "Oh, we watched you all the time on Guam. I would watch you, blah 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 blah." The chaplain, my friend, is sitting next to me. He's like, "You paid that guy." That did not really happen. And I was like, I'm trying to tell you, I was kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
I don't
Look at us sitting at the table with the big deal. This is pretty cool.
You're
right
welcome,
now.
Melanie. Enjoy
Thank
it.
You.
Enjoy it while
Just
it lasts.
basking in the glow.
Yeah, that's
it.
I
don't know. I think
it's
we
the
have
glow
to...
of the sunburn that I got on the back of my neck. That's what you're really feeling.
I don't know. I think we need to reevaluate this whole K-pop and whatever. I mean, you're a big deal.
So talking about that K-pop, my kids I have told them that this is, and both of them have said not a chance.
Not a chance.
Oh,
Not
come
a,
on. I thought you were going to say they started calling you that preemptively.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
I was so, and but we actually on the cruise, Rochelle and I were talking about this, and she's like, "You know what that means?" I said, "No." She said, "That means that I'm going to be Arma." Arma. Rochelle,
Arma.
Arma.
Got it. Yeah.
Is that K-pop and Arma? Is that not like the greatest?
I mean, they would
grandparent
not
names?
get you mixed up with
It's
their other
pretty cool.
grandparents. That's for sure.
We sent that to Rochelle or to Kyla and Eric, and both of them like sent us like pictures with them doing a thumbs down and like I
That's
I think that if you see my children, let them know that they need to.
Come on,
They're
guys.
gonna
Come
change
on.
their minds.
It's got to be. And
Yeah.
Arma, I thought that was just brilliant too. I mean, it really works.
K-pop brings Arma.
Arma.
Armageddon. Is that what you just said?
Only Armageddon can possibly follow.
All right. Well, there we go.
All right. So you have one more story though, right? Or was that both?
Yeah.
of
Well,
them?
just jump into it. Well, yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Guess what?
I think it's going to naturally fit in. I'm guessing.
Let's
to our
see if we can
conversation.
work this into the ending, because that way we can make everybody stay to the end. We're going to do a little tease here. So you're gonna have to wait to the end of the episode to find out the next story.
Yeah,
I mean,
no one has scrolling capabilities, so we've got it. Oh, sorry.
Man, the scrolling
Melanie.
Man.
You're going to edit that out, right?
Yeah, I'll just edit that out. No one needs to know about that.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Just come back where it says we edit that out.
So if you left a voicemail last Thursday and thought that it came through, it did not. It was a 407 area code, and the last word was period. So it was a lot of, and that's all there was. So I don't know if it's like
period.
I love you guys. Period. I hate you guys. Period. Like I don't know what to make of it. But if you were from a 407 area code number and you tried to leave a voicemail last Thursday, only the last word came in. Period. And it was emphatic.
So send it again.
Yeah.
Period.
Period. Send it again. Just period. But what did come through, and so you may want to jump into the Slack channel. Just send me an email from the account you would like to be subscribed from, and I will take care of that personally for you. Just send it to podcast@wholelife.church. And this is from Randy Rowe, and she's already planning for episode 600, and she's got you got to go to the Slack channel to read it. I'll let you guys figure it out, but she has figured out a way for us to make 600 happen, because we have time and we need to schedule some guest speaker engagements that would be like, hey, Ken, we'll fly you on this date to be here, right? Melanie and Randy and Lucas will do a worship podcast technological conference. We can maybe we can triple up with Ken and do the whole weekend thing, maybe 2 weekends.
Okay.
And that way, if we get our airfare taken care of and lodging, then we should be able to do episode 600 there.
In Australia?
In Australia, and have it paid for by somebody who needs to hear a good Ken message.
So there's actually a sponsor?
Well, we have to find that sponsor, but I think we need to put it out there to at least local churches. Are like, you need a little whole life in your life, don't you? What can we help you with?
Is there a camp meeting happening in Australia that needs
something like that? We can bring a team with us.
Absolutely.
You'd love to have whole life worship at your conference, right?
Well, I mean, here's the real benefit. We can get Melanie Bachman, PhD, to come and do a sermon for you.
And Ken, if you could back that up.
And Ken will be there just to, just in case Melanie gets sick or something.
Yeah. So you're not going to pay for nothing.
No.
Right. And then,
if I get sick, Randy was on. And then after that, there's Lucas. So you really have to have 4 people just to be sure.
I feel like it's important to have everybody there.
Yeah.
Although I'm not famous on Guam, so I probably... I think your name probably has more star power.
We'll make you famous.
Well, Melanie.
There you go.
What's that?
I said we'll make her famous in Australia.
Oh, well, there we go.
There we are.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of like Sister White. She was famous in Australia for a while, wasn't she?
Absolutely.
So there you go. You'll just be the next one.
All right.
She's down.
I'm down. I'm down under, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that was a good one. Thank you. All right. Hi, at Randy and all the podcast team. I look forward to hearing all of your voices each week. And as you all know, I stay about a week behind. So this comment is really for Hurdley. I've spent many pleasant hours over the years talking with her at picnics, church retreats, potlucks, and just passing each other in the church building. Her message on May 2nd was a beautiful reminder of what love and caring truly is. I've been blessed by knowing her as all who pass her way. Her message to the church is timely and so well conveyed. Add to that, she lives the love and caring she preached on the 2nd. Please make sure to pass on my gratitude to her. We will do so, because awesome. I owe her an email anyway. So look at this. This is the click of the pen. Okay. Done. Promise.
Yeah, I saw him write it down.
There it is. All right. So we didn't have, maybe a voicemail, not sure. No email, no text, but we did get the Slack and the possible email. So I'm going to start out the show because Ken, Ken admitted to having lost a child for at least a moment in time.
See, I knew you were going to go there, and this is where my story comes in.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we wait for that?
I don't know.
Well, here, let's go.
Maybe we can actually trick out the people and like.
If you waited to the end, you're not going to find it.
If you scrolled all the way to the end,
You missed it.
you missed it, and we can just send them right back to the undisclosed part.
All right, go for it.
Wow.
We really reward people who listen to every word of this podcast.
That's it. It's all worth it.
So the funny thing to me was I'm telling this story apparently, and my son is in the congregation.
Eric was here?
Eric was here for one of the services, and this story is about him and me losing track of him.
Right.
But apparently whoever was sitting next to him did not know that he was my son. And under their breath, they're like, that kid shouldn't have got lost. He should have been around where his dad could find him. My son thought it was so funny.
That's awesome. See, we talked about this at lunch with somebody. Never say anything. Not that was derogatory or anything, but like never say anything about an Adventist because there's another Adventist within earshot.
Oh, yeah.
And they may live on the other side of the world, but they know who you know. Is all I'm saying.
I just thought that was so funny, though, that he's sitting right there.
All right.
But
Melanie.
now he's given himself away, though. Now Eric has.
Yeah,
now people are going to be really careful what they say.
That's
well, they might not know who he is, so just know that
you might be sitting
whoever you're sitting next to,
they might be more connected than you think.
Might either be my son or somebody on a plane.
So, Melanie, ever lost a kiddo?
Yes, but not for very long. Usually it was just a matter of somebody hiding in a clothing rack or something momentarily. But I haven't lost anybody for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Okay. Well, we lost Emily. No, we lost Ellie. Take it back. Altamont Mall food court. And we were, of course, at where else? Chick-fil-A, and went to get the food. And I don't know, Heather and I were both like grabbing trays, napkins, condiments. I don't know. And she looks at me and goes, "Where's Ellie?" And I was like, "Right here." Not here. And she's like, "You lost her?" I was like, "She was just here." I was like, "Wait here while I grab."
It only takes 1 second.
So we are,
or less.
And it's lunch at the food court at the Altamont Mall, and it is just packed. Like there's nowhere to sit, which I think is why we were having trouble getting everything like loaded on the tray and ready to go and whatever. And we're looking, and it's like, okay, can't find. And all of a sudden, it's like, yoo-hoo, hello, over here. And there's this lady in an electric wheelchair, and she's got blankets piled on her. It's a car. It's like bags on the side. Anyway, Ellie is sitting on her lap having the time of her life, cruising around in the electric wheelchair. And she's like, "Does she belong to you?" It's like, "How'd you know?" She's like, "You look distressed." Like, yeah, this must be them. So like you, that was maybe 3 or 4 minutes we lost her. And then about 3 years ago, we lost Emily for about 40 minutes, I think 35 minutes at Lake Eola.
That's scary.
At, was it Make 'em Smile? Or, so like 25, 30,000 people. And it's like, she's gone. Like where might she be? Police are involved, texting pictures to all the police on horseback, riding around, and eventually they found her. But that was, and I'm like, wow, like maybe 30 minutes, around 30 minutes, something like that. And Jesus is gone for 3 days.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Come on. I don't even like a day when you're a day out. And you're like, all of a sudden realize, it doesn't matter whether you're a day out in a walk or a day out in a car, it's still a day either way to get back. And then to get back and then 2 more days?
I think
That's
3 days.
Time.
Or yeah. It was 3. Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Was it common for parents not to talk with their children like on those trips for more than a day?
Well, Lucas, I appreciate you thinking I'm old enough to have been there.
Well,
Back in your day.
Back when you walked the dirt roads with Jesus, was that common?
Back when I was a kid.
So
I love it.
The way I understand it is that basically they would travel in groups when they were going to Passover and back, and so it was probably not very. It probably was pretty common to kind of find your child and be like, "Hey, we're headed out," and your child be like, "That's cool. I'm going to be over here with my friends, and we're going to be kind of, throwing rocks, and then running ahead and running back. I don't know." So, I think it's easy to. Definitely, it feels like Mary and Joseph should have known and should have probably been paying a little bit more attention. And yet, I think for those of us who have been parents, we can go, "Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get how." Oh, Rochelle, you're watching. Oh no, Joseph. Ken, you're watching. No, Joseph, Mary. And so as I said in the sermon, Jesus was 12 years old, and that was kind of the age where he could have been with the men or he could have been with the women. It was he could have either way, and so it would have been very easy for either parent to think, "Oh, he's just with the other person." And the families weren't traveling together in a car. They were, they were. Traveling in, the women would all be kind of walking together near the back of the group, and the men would be walking together at the front. And so, so it would have been not hard to believe that you could, misplace a child.
And Wi-Fi was limited back then. So.
Very limited.
Well,
extremely limited.
And the boys were probably off throwing rocks or something like that off to the side, off the road, even not necessarily always by the group.
Can you imagine? I think as for those who are modern parents, you can track where your children are. You can see, location finder, all that stuff. I just think back just to my parents' time and feel for them when they had no idea where I was at certain times of the day and night, and that's not their fault. I just
because they're the ones that kicked you out and said, if you're going to be rambunctious, play outside.
They let me have a car, so that's it too, right? So
if you're going to keep making a mess in the house, you can just go outside, Mister.
Well, it was a different world, wasn't it? We would, fifth grade through I don't know when, I would come home and had an adult that would drop my brother and I off at the house, and we'd open the door with the key and go in and do whatever we were going to do, and then go outside and play. And
that's why they started the new newscast with, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Because most people didn't.
Nope.
Once you had your chores done, it was off to the races. Yeah. And then we left school at 3 p.m. My parents didn't get done until, my dad, he was never home when we got home. And it's dark out when he would get home, especially in the summertime, and even otherwise. But my mom, when it would be supper time, it'd be like, she'd take the car and she'd open the garage door and beep the horn on the car, because we lived out in the country and it would travel a long way because it was just cornfields. And she would go out and beep. And if she had to beep more than 3 times, whew.
It's trouble, huh?
You better be on your way home. And there were no street lights where we lived. It was, it was out in the country. They're like, you'll find your way home in the dark.
My parents had a whistle. There was a particular whistle that they did. Okay. And so when we heard that whistle, it was very loud. When we heard it, we would know it was. I remember one time I was at the lake with a bunch of our friends, and we had the boat, and people were taking turns water skiing, and I was walking with one of my friends, and I heard my mom whistle. And we turned around and walked all the way back. It probably took me 5 minutes to get back. And Mom said, "Why did you come back?" I said, "Well, I heard your whistle." And she had told somebody, "Watch this."
Oh, man. That's
nice. Did you feel a little like Pavlov's dog at that moment?
I did. It was just automatic turning around and homing device.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we do that in the store. We have a whistle that we all use in our family. So.
Really?
Yep.
What does it sound like?
I'm not going to whistle too loud because it's going to go loud. But except really loud, and then all of a sudden you'll hear coming back from over the other side, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I know where you are now." Or if it's Emmy, she's over there going, because she can't whistle.
The McGray family call right there.
And plus, she doesn't have, when we lost her, it was like the old days, because she won't. I'm not getting her a phone because she'll lose it, because she'll just set it down somewhere and think she's going to go back and pick it up. As many times as she loses her glasses, And then she won't wear a device. I mean, so we're just like, they're like, she doesn't, how old is she? Like, 13, 14, like, I don't know if it doesn't have a phone. I'm like, no.
AirTag?
Yeah, maybe in the
shoe.
In the shoe, but then you see that everywhere. Come to church every week, and the shoes are in the office. Yeah. They're downstairs. They're upstairs. Evelise texts me on Sunday night, and she's like, "This hat and shoes, by chance, are these your girls?" And I'm like, "It's our calling card. Everywhere we go, we leave hats, T-shirts, and jerseys wherever we go." So yeah, that's not always the best either, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. So the part that made me kind of chuckle out loud, though, was when you were, you're kind of talking about Mary's reaction. And I'm just like, all right, it's Mother's Day. So let's put our mothers in that place and be like, what would your mom have said to you if you were Jesus in the same thing? And I mean, my mom would have been Randall Dean, first name, last name. And then it would have been just until we were cooled off or until we had whatever out of our system.
My mom's a very godly woman.
Is she?
And she would have said exactly what Mary said. She would have followed the example of Mary.
Melanie?
Yeah, I think if I had just been missing for 3 days, I probably wouldn't come back.
Well, yeah. If it was up to my
You're
dad.
missing permanently.
I'm going to be in so much trouble. I better not go back at all.
Lucas?
I will be surrounded.
Yeah?
Chores plus grounded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Come on, I can never kill you.
Nice.
Surrounded?
Yeah. My mom was tough, man.
I just can't. I'm like, your mom seems like such. Well, all of our
back in the day.
Yeah, no, I get that. All of our parents now have like mellowed so much, and people are like, I just can't see that. And when they tell you when you tell them stories, and they're like,
they didn't do that.
I don't believe that. You're like, oh man, you do.
I'm hoping that's what my kids' friends say to them. There's no way. Your mom never said that.
Yeah. A lot of us have that dream, and we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, we know it's not going to happen. Now, the thing, though, that if you didn't catch the message, and I really wanted to spend most of our time just kind of going through the good and the bad, because it's easy sometimes to, and I think Ken mentioned that, no matter where your childhood lands, if you feel like you were good, bad, or somewhere in the middle, that most of our parents had good qualities about them or good things about them. And just like us and everybody else, of course, there were qualities that they wished that they didn't possess, that they were trying to overcome, or things that were, like you said, the cycle of that, whatever that is, whether it's, pretty much any trait you can think of that can continue to perpetuate itself. And it's always like, as you become a parent, you're like, I am not going to be that person. And then when someone's like, man, you sounded just like your dad right there, or you sounded just like your mom. And it's like, really? I don't know. That couldn't possibly be because
I don't know, Randy. The worst for me is when you do know.
I've sworn it
comes out of your mouth and you're like, what?
Oh, okay. So we're going to be honest. Okay. Well, I was just checking. I was testing the water first to see how far we were going to go.
The water
with that.
is warm.
But, to think about the things and the way that you can apply the good things with, Ken mentioned a firm foundation, growing resilience, and cultivating nuance and empathy. And out of those three, the cultivating nuance and empathy for me was the one that maybe resonated. And I mean, growing resilience, I think that's a good thing too, to find those things and be like, yeah, okay, that wasn't perfect. I survived, and I applied things that I learned, and I said, no, I'm not going to be this person, and I want to do better. But the cultivating nuance and empathy, because I think it's really easy to just go, man, my childhood stunk. Or how come it wasn't more like my friend? Like, man, his parents were so cool, or mom was cool. But I don't know if you ever had this, but when you were littler as kids, before you kind of understood more, it was like, man, if I could have your mom and my dad, or if I could have my dad and your mom, and kids would play this game about what they liked about the certain parent. And not that they didn't like the other, but it was like, man, we wouldn't have anybody because like there would be nobody to punish us because that's not what this parent does in my house. And my parent, this other parent lets me stay up and do whatever I want kind of thing. And so you had obviously the two parents have to balance that out, hopefully. But it just made me stop and think about that and how much cultivating the nuance and bringing that empathy, how much that changed my picture of my childhood once you grew up and you're like, wow, bro, you don't have anything to complain about because you when we said this last week in announcements that thanking our mothers and that, maybe some mothers deserved medals for raising certain people and the first service, you were right on spot with the laughter, right on cue. So I appreciate that. It actually came in on the stream, audible, very audible. So
those are great pictures.
Yeah. So appreciate that. And you're not wrong. My mom says I get 95% of her gray hairs, and she's 83, so she's lived a lot of life, and I get 95%. So do that what you will. But looking back and thinking about as a parent now, and going, whoa, that was, I'd be furious. I'd be angry. I'd be like, what's the matter with you? All the things that you heard growing up and, them trying to figure out the secret sauce that would somehow keep you from doing things that they knew would be hurtful, things that they knew wouldn't be good long term, things that even short term wouldn't be good. And you're like, yeah, whatever, and you just kind of go along. And I mean, not that you never took the advice, but I think creating that now really helps overcome things that you maybe held on to for maybe longer than you should have. Or you maybe you held on to them too tightly as a bigger deal than they were. And I don't want to minimize anyone that's been, abused or something like that, where legitimately, and I'm not saying that none of it's not legitimate because your feelings are what they are, right? And that you'll grow with those over time. But that to me was the one that made me feel like, man, if there was something I could have figured out sooner in my life, that would have been the one. So I appreciated that about Ken's message. And cognitive congruence. I think everyone knows what dissonance is, but congruence, I mean, obviously congruent lines, we kind of get part of that, but not allowing yourself to be honest about who your parents were, that was never a problem for me. I always thought I had them pegged. But then in maybe not the way you think, where people are like, oh man, my childhood was bad, my parents are bad. Sometimes I thought, man, my parents are too good. Like all this, like what's this getting you? You're not getting ahead. You're helping other people. You're doing these things. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but my dad, that's his love language, which I didn't figure out till I was way later in life. His thing is like, look, I will show up anywhere, anytime for anyone and do anything. I'll give you the shirt off my back if that's what it takes to make your situation better. But then when it came to the expectation was always like of us seemed like way unattainable. Like you can't do anything to meet expectations. And yet here's a stranger who gets the best without anything. It's just like, yeah, they needed something. I showed up. I'm like, well, I think I needed something. It's like, well, better pull up your boots then, buddy, and make that happen.
It's because they were trying to give you a different gift, Randy.
Okay.
The gift of resilience and self-sufficiency.
Okay, the doc is in. Tell me what I needed and what they were doing, because go ahead.
They were helping you with resiliency and self-sovereignty.
Was that it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Self-sufficiency.
Wow. Yeah, that was resilience.
I think I missed part of this question.
I think we have to. I need to seek out better advice, I think, from some professional. Ken always says, seek out professional advice, and clearly I didn't do that, so I got what I paid for.
The bill's in the mail.
That's absolute perfection. The other thing was becoming you. That's one that should be kind of obvious, I feel like, but isn't always. For the longest time, you kind of identify yourself as your family.
Yeah.
And you have that family pride and the things that your family's good at. And you're like, yeah, I'm a Wetmore. I'm a whatever, and I'm proud of that, but also not putting the things like you can almost feel the weight sometimes of what your parents' expectations were of them. And then when you find out more about their childhood, and you're like, whoa,
yeah,
they really didn't do so bad.
No.
Considering, again, breaking cycles doesn't mean, I think the thing when we talk about breaking cycles is people just assume like, well, not doing that anymore. That's solved. Just kind of like, hey, I'm not going to do that sin anymore because I don't like it. And that's not what I want in my life. And then, oops, I did it again. Here we are. But really the breaking the cycle, I mean, is it fair to say, Ken, from what you were talking about, that like, is there an improve, like I improved 35.6% or I made progress? Like what's acceptable to say I'm breaking the cycle? Or is there not really a measurement other than your personal feelings in this?
You should probably talk to your therapist about that.
But this, you write down.
Yes. Therapist more notes for you, my friend. No, I mean, I think the first thing when it comes to breaking this cycle of trauma is to recognize it. It's like any other form of pain in our lives. You have to admit that it's pain. You have to admit that there's a problem there. And I think that a lot of times it's easy to feel like life is going to become unhinged and our foundation is going to get washed away if we say, hey, this was traumatic. This was a problem. This wasn't probably the most helpful way that I was parented. And so I think it can be very difficult to do that. And so I think the first step is obviously just saying, hey, I do see that there are issues here that are problematic. And then again, depending on the situation, the severity of what was going on, it may be something just as simple as making that, hey, I am going to do things differently, and that's what I'm going to do. Or it may be something that's a little bit more complex that would just be very helpful for you to have a mental health professional guide you through the process and what it would look like to reset in your life and find a different foundation. So again, there's a lot of different things that I'd say there, but I genuinely hope that both Kyla and Eric are better parents than I was. Oh. I hope that they recognize my shortcomings, and I hope that they will love me in spite of them. And I hope that they will not pass on, some of the problems that, I think that for me, my background, there's a lot of manipulation in my family tree. And I'm not even just talking about my parents. I'm just talking about across the board. There's a lot of manipulation, a lot of insecurity, and I have seen that come out in the way that I have parented, where I've tried to manipulate my children into doing things that I wanted them to do rather than loving them into it and giving them some freedom. And so there's the parts that I recognize, and I'm trying to, when I recognize it, say to my kids, hey, this wasn't a good way that I did that, and I'm sorry, and I could do better. But then there's the things that I think will always be blind spots in our lives. I remember somebody telling me for the first time that they thought I was being manipulative, and I was like, that was a new concept. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not manipulative. And then I started diving into it in my personal growth, and I was like, oh, yeah, you are. You need to work on that. And it's something that I try to invest time and energy into, being that better person and trying to recognize things that and do things differently. So I think one of the things that I would say to children is just, as you listen to this sermon, your parents aren't perfect, only Jesus is.
Yep.
And so it's not being disloyal to say that this wasn't right or this wasn't good. It's also important to have some grace and to have, particularly for parents who are like, hey, I'm sorry.
Not everybody gets that.
No, not everybody does. In fact, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And that would be one of the things I just challenge all my parents out there. Don't be that parent.
Yeah.
Be the parent that's able to say, hey, I have made mistakes. This was a mistake. Even when, I think that even when you have a child that confronts you on something that you don't think was a mistake, to be able to say, hey, I appreciate you sharing your perspective on that. I'm not sure if I see that right now, but I will think about it.
Yeah, think about it.
And I appreciate you being able to share with me.
It's good.
How you're feeling. That's, I think, an important skill to be able to do. And a lot of times in my own personal life, I get very defensive. Oh, no, as opposed to being like, hey, that's just information. And that is your perspective. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but it is what you're experiencing. So if that's what you're experiencing, how do I work with you? How do I, is it something that really isn't that big a deal and I can definitely change whether I'm right or wrong on this? Or is this something that, we're not going to be, I'm not going to be repentant from, I'm not going to tell you I think that I did the wrong thing by not allowing you to drink underage. I'm just not going to feel bad about that. On the other hand, I hear you being angry that your friends are all doing it and I'm not allowing you to do it. I feel good about my decision.
Yeah.
But the thing is just being able to, but thank you for sharing that you're frustrated. I remember my kids share with me how frustrated they were that they were the only kids in their class that didn't have cell phones.
Mine too.
And I didn't feel sad about it. I didn't feel like I was doing the wrong thing. But I also understood that it was taking a toll on them being the only ones that didn't have that and feeling outside of what everybody else had and what was going on in their lives. And if I really thought about it, it took me back to when I was a kid and everybody else was getting Nintendos and I got an Atari for the first time. It was just like you felt like you're way outside of the norm. And so I can appreciate that. And at the same time, I'm not sorry that my parents went about doing things the way they did. I think it made me a more resilient person to not be sitting at home playing video games all day long and be outside running around the woods and having to figure out how to get myself off of cliffs that I started climbing up. I think there were some helpful life skills in those things. So my point is there's the point where you can say, I'm sorry because you genuinely did make a mistake. And there's the times where, hey, you just made a parenting decision that maybe you stand by, but but I appreciate that you didn't appreciate it. I hear you.
Instead of conversation over.
Yeah, really.
Or no conversation.
That's so much it. And it can be painful. I think that any of us who have children who are getting older can receive some really painful feedback from them. And it's like, I don't feel like you don't see me. I don't feel like you understand how hard I've worked for you and the effort I've put in. And when you talk to me that way, it really feels very painful. And yet I strive to want to be the parent that doesn't shut that conversation down just because it's painful for me.
Yeah. Melanie?
Yeah. I'm just processing and listening. Actually, so to rewind a little bit to your original question about stopping the cycle. I think it's one thing to say, I want to stop this cycle. I don't want to do what my parents did. I think it's another thing to decide what you're going to do instead.
Okay.
That's
Because people default to what they know. So if you haven't determined who you're going to be in these different situations and how you are going to handle things differently, then you will just repeat what you have learned and what you know. And so I too, I hope my kids, are much better parents than I was. I hope that they look at some of the dumb things that they did and that I did and say, nope, I'm not going to do that with my kids. But I will agree though that it is sometimes difficult to get. One of my sons called me months ago, and he's like, "There's something I want to talk about. Do you remember when this happened?" And I said, "No, I don't. No, you did this. I have no recollection whatsoever of doing this." So I think part of the interesting thing as a parent is dealing with the experience of the perception. Mm-hmm. Of how they perceived the situation, and being willing to allow space for both their perception and your perception to exist, and yet being able and available to apologize
Even if it's just to their perception?
Mm-hmm. Even if it's just to the perception, I have no recollection of that. But if that's something that you remember and I did that or I said that, I'm sorry, because that's not who I wanted to be.
Well, I think one of the things that Ken said that towards the end of the message that really hit home for me was because, again, our perception of, well, you, like you said, Ken, you don't see what I have to go through to make sure that you're clothed and fed and a house is over your head and you're safe and there's,
how many nights I stayed awake worried about you, woke up early worrying about you, praying for you. Yeah.
And then you said meaning well doesn't mean it went well. And so our perception of that, while those are all good things to strive for, make sure your family is taken care of and all the rest of it. But sometimes how we get there and you don't feel it, you don't see it yourself, again, because maybe you haven't decided, or maybe it was just because it happened and it happens so many times in the past that it doesn't even feel like it happened because it's just the norm. And you're like, oh, did I say that way? Or is that how I came across? But meaning well doesn't mean it went well. But allow your parents, and this is, you were talking to the kids, let them be human beings. And I think that was maybe the thing that helped me the most when I got to be older, was just like looking at, especially when you hear stories but hopefully you've heard stories from your grandparents, about what happened to or how your parents were raised, because that answered a lot of questions for me. That helped me understand. It didn't mean I thought it was okay, certain things were okay, or maybe that I agreed with them, but also understanding a situation where someone, that was what they were raised with and they never saw anything different, and maybe the needle never moved for them in some cases. Man, it's hard to not have empathy for someone who you see went through something so difficult that made your situation, like what happened to you, maybe it's in that same vein. We didn't change the course enough. Maybe we changed to the best of our ability, or, whatever. And you felt like, man, I really had it rough. And my step-grandma once told us some stories about my dad, and she's like, oh, boo-hoo for you. And she let us, my brother and I were griping over the breakfast table at their house and about this, that, and the other. And she's like, you have no idea what your dad went through as a kid. And then she told us, and she yelled at us, and she let us have it. I was kind of thinking she was going to get out the spoon.
Not the spoon.
And
The
wooden spoon, let us have it on the backside beside, because she was angry. And she's like, don't put that all on your dad, And so when you hear those things, I think there's an opportunity for you to say, oh, not forgiving or not forgetting behavior. And again, I want to put my best foot forward as if I become a parent, but also having that empathy to go, wow, they survived, and that's a pretty good improvement. That the needle moved, and then it's less hard. It's more difficult to be angry that maybe the needle didn't move quite as far as you'd hoped it would have for you. But I think that's a big thing that later on you can go, yeah, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. So, and then just the idea that the Bible is nuanced storytelling. I had to chuckle on that a little bit, just because, it's the thing that makes it good, and the things that people go, some horrible stuff God let happen in the Bible. And it's like, yeah, but it's not trying to sugarcoat anything. And I thought just the way when you went from breaking the cycles of trauma into the Bible being nuanced in its storytelling, also just made a lot of sense to think about some of the stories we go, oh, how could God have possibly have done that? And then realizing like, oh, well, we don't probably know everything, and we don't probably understand everything. And so maybe there's a little grace and nuance for what that could be. And if we're looking for the good in God, well, maybe that's the God I would rather go, yeah, let's just think of it as he probably had good reason, and we don't understand all those ways. I thought the way he left it, love them in spite of their humanness. So, Emily, if you're listening, love me in spite of my humanness, please. And I'll try to reciprocate. How about that? Sound good?
I heard somebody
Sounds
say,
good
okay.
to us.
I heard something. Okay, that was an amen for somebody. Lucas, do you have any questions this week?
Yes, we got 3 questions.
3 questions. All right, let's roll.
Yeah. What do you do when you inform Christian parents of their bad parenting cycle and they still refuse to change?
I think I talked about this a little bit in the service, and I think that firstly, not knowing the situation, it's a little hard for me to give you solid advice. But the first thing I would tell you is that boundaries are something that only you can enforce, and so you have to decide what your boundaries are going to be. And if people, not just your parents, but if people choose to violate them, you're the one who has to enforce it. You're the one who has to say, okay, if this is happening, then this won't be happening, or this is going to happen because this happened.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it can be very helpful to have a good Christian counselor to kind of bounce some of those things off of and work on that with you.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Remembering the bad about our parents is sometimes easier said than done. What's the healthiest first step to take when memories of our parents are connected to trauma and abuse?
It's a great question. I'm not really sure I have a really good answer right off the top of my head. Melanie, do you have anything?
I think, again, it's a situation where, every situation is unique. And I think if the memories are buried in trauma, that really needs a professional. It really needs someone who can walk with you through that. So, but yeah, and I don't think that's something, you can really tackle on your own without somebody walking with you.
Yeah, I like that input. I think that a lot of times as Christians we'll say, oh, just try to think about the good things. And I think that about your parents and try not to think as much about the bad things. But I think that can be a little dangerous to say, because if things were really traumatic and they were really serious, not thinking about that and not getting it worked out, it can be very, very detrimental to your overall health, both mental and physical for that matter.
Yeah, and we are the culmination of our experiences. So chances are who you are and how you engage in relationships and work and life with God, all of that is intermingled with your experiences as a child. So there may be things that you do or say or how you experience the world that come from that trauma. So it's not like it's an isolated event, that you can just put a lid on it and it's gone, because it still impacts your identity and who you are. So sometimes it's healthy to go back in and kind of dig around in there and figure out, oh, this is why I am who I am.
Yeah.
And now that I have that information and I understand how that works, here's what I can do moving forward for me as I take responsibility, not for what my parents did, but for who I am and who I choose to be.
But even that, if you don't choose to talk to someone, you can make some realizations on your own. You can dig through it and you can figure some stuff out, but it's painful, especially when you don't have someone else to talk to about it that you would trust to first not judge and to actually have maybe, relevant, good advice. It takes a long time to do that. That's not something that, and along the way, depending, again, like you said, if it was something like super traumatic, there's a lot of like health risks that you're taking that, it might just be the best step is just to go talk to someone and see if they can't help you at least get off on the right foot.
Yeah. Otherwise, you may end up in your own echo chamber, and the chaos that just kind of spins around in your head when you're trying to work through some of these things. And a lot of times, as we've grown up and we've tried to make sense of our world, we have built-in rationalizations for why people did things that they did. And it's hard to dismantle those things by yourself sometimes, because sometimes you don't even recognize that they're there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do want to tag on, because I'm just seeing this, I'm hearing this more and more from people, is they say, well, I can't afford a counselor, so I use AI. I put these issues into AI and I get feedback from AI. And I really want to tell you, please be careful if you're doing that, okay? Because the fact of the matter is that AI can sometimes spit out some really beautiful answers. Sometimes it's got some really good insight. But there are other times where AI is trained to be sycophantic towards you and to tell you what you want to hear as opposed to what you need to hear. And that is one of the beauties of a good counselor, human counselor, is that they will tell you what you need to hear and not always what you want to hear. In fact, often not what you want to hear. And that is not AI's strength, is doing that. And so if you are using AI for some of your mental health, please, please, please be careful with that. And you know, check in with us and let's see if we can help you find somebody that you can't afford if that's an issue or whatever. But do be careful with that. And again, I thought about whether bringing that up, but I'm getting more and more people that are telling me, oh, I'm just using AI to kind of work on my mental health issues. And I feel a lot of concern. AI has encouraged people to do self-destructive things at times.
I think it's also important that, AI only responds to what information you give it and what you tell it. But I think ultimately, it's kind of interesting and it might be kind of fun to have a conversation with AI, but it doesn't take the place of an actual professional person.
And if you're here local and you're listening to this, if you're not sure, talk to one of our Stevens ministers. If it's above something that they are trained to handle, they will tell you. Yeah. Please go find a professional. We can, maybe you can recommend somebody or help you find resources. But at least it's a place to start where you could have someone walk with you through maybe a first couple of steps to say, you know what, I really do need this. Or, hey, maybe we can talk this out and they can walk with me for, a couple of weeks, a month, whatever, and work through these. Or, it's probably best that we move forward to someone else. So take advantage of that as well, please. Last one.
Is remembering the bad something we can apply in the present, or is it something that only really becomes useful with 20/20 hindsight when the emotions may not be completely gone, but at least processed?
Yeah, great question. I think it is probably a little bit easier in the rearview mirror, but I do think also you can apply things right in the now.
Yeah.
A lot of times when negative things happen in my life, it's a reminder to me that something needs to be fixed. And so why am I struggling with this? It's a bad thing. What am I going to do with it? So, I think that probably it is easiest to do these things in the rearview mirror, but I also think that there is a time and a place in the present when you're experiencing those things to see what the opportunities for growth are.
So to wrap up, Stevens Ministries, wholelife.church/Stevens Ministries. You can check them out. That's the website, and you can get in contact with them there.
And if you scrolled all the way here because you were wanting to listen to the story that I was going to tell at the end, we told it somewhere else in the show. You're going to have to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I didn't look at the timestamp to see when we said that, so you'll have to you're just going to have to
listen to the whole thing.
Or you're going to have to read the transcript and kind of scroll ahead a little bit, but that's a cheat if you're on Apple Podcast. All right. Our Favorite Things series is coming up, and we have a couple of weeks yet before it starts, but we need some more questions. And so if you want to hear...
I have 6 spaces left.
6 spaces.
Maybe 5, really, but 6.
Okay.
Up to 6, maybe 5. So this is your chance. And if you did it, we're going to have Randy and Lucas find you.
That's it.
And they're going to go ahead and have you... they'd like to record you asking the question because we want to be able to use that on social media. We want to use it right before the sermon.
So if you happen to be here this Saturday, then go ahead and find us in the lobby. We'll be hanging out, and we will try to find you if you don't find us. And if you have a question and just you see us, come and take a peek and tell us what you want.
And if you're not sure what this series is about, I'm going to be preaching on your favorite Bible story or Bible verse. So if you have a favorite Bible verse or Bible story that you want me to preach on, let me know. Ken at wholelife.church, or you can find Randy or Lucas at church this Sabbath, and they will record it.
And at worst case, if you don't see us in the lobby, we're in Suite 204 on second floor. Come and find us.
I like that, Suite 204. Yeah.
Well, Studio 204, whichever we got. We're sweet. What do you want to know? Okay, guys. All right, so this is super early bird, but I feel like we need to get this out here. This year, we want more than ever for you to come to GLS. It is a great speaker lineup, and the GLS is short for the Global Leadership Summit, something we've done here for the last, this will be year 4 for us, Ken, as the host site, or 3? It's got to be 3.
I think it's 3.
It's 3, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, it's 2. This has got to be year 4 because we did the Aruba trip twice.
Oh, that's true.
And that can't be the first year because you can't win it the first year because it's most So this has got to be year 4. That's wild to think about.
Wow.
Yeah. So year 4. So here's the thing. Now until June 19th, you can get tickets at its absolutely shortest price, best price, lowest price, lowest.
There it is.
Greatest value.
And then it goes up by 40, or actually it goes up by $30 in July. And then right before it actually goes up, you pay $60 more if you wait all the way to August until like the day of. If we have any room by then, I have a feeling we already have a bunch of people already registered. wholelife.church/GLS. And I will actually put the speaker lineup in today's Slack, just so you can check out who's going to be there. So please, please, please don't miss that and get yourself in early. And if you have a group, all the links are right there to sign up, right on the GLS page at Whole Life. So make sure that you're a part of that. Anything else? VBS, don't forget to sign up. It's on the events page. What else is going on? That's it, I think.
There's so much stuff. Go to events.
Just go to the events page as always. Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. Thanks for listening to This is Whole Life. If today's conversation resonated with you, we invite you to subscribe, share, and leave a review on your favorite listening platform. To join the conversation, send a text or voicemail to 407-965-1607 or email podcast@wholelife.church. To learn more about Whole Life Church, worship with us online or in person, visit our website, wholelife.church. Until next time, this is Whole Life.